Have you ever wondered who's behind the leading edge sign? In this series of interviews with leading edge real estate agents, we'll uncover exactly who is behind the sign, what makes them so unique, and how they're staying on top of their real estate game while living their best life. Hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Sign. I'm Christine George, and today I am so excited to have Michelle and John Ternullo with us. John and Michelle are from the Ternullo team. They are a husband and wife team. They're amazing. They're incredibly successful. They service the Reading, Andover, and surrounding Merrimack Valley markets. They are fabulous marketers, and they're smart, charismatic, and I just love the natural banter they have between each other, and you're going to see what I mean here in just a few minutes. So without further ado, welcome John and Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So good to have you guys here. I say this to every agent that's on Behind the Sign, but I don't lie. You're like some of my favorite agents because you guys are just so incredibly creative, and you're a bit like Hollywood. You look like actors, famous people.
Yeah, I don't know, but thank you.
So I am just going to dig right in. So you guys came into this business together. You left careers,
yes.
Came into the business together a few years back. Why did you decide to leave stable careers and come into this business? And how the heck were you able to do it together? It's risky.
Yeah. So funny story about that. So I was in the mortgage business for about 10 years. And during that time, I got my real estate license. It was always something kind of that I wanted to do, and, kept my career in the mortgage industry. And then I kind of had my license on the back burner. I would maintain my credits and all that. And I met Mark Nelson, who's an agent of ours, at a class. And I ended up sitting with a bunch of agents that work in our office. And I remember he was like, "Oh, we're having a career night. You should come." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So, at that time we had one child, and he was, maybe like just a year old at that time. John had a sales and marketing background, and we just felt like we wanted to have our own business. When we got married in 2007, I remember being in Italy on our honeymoon and watching the news, and all of these banks were closing. And I just thought, I don't know if I'm going to have a job to go back to. And so when Nicholas was about 3 months old, I stayed home for a bit, and we met with Linda and Steve at career night. And the very next day I found out that I was pregnant with baby number 2. So not only did we leave full-time careers, but we jumped in a very the market was crashed. We were having a second child, and everyone, including myself, thought we were crazy. And I have to give a lot of credit to John, which I don't normally do on an everyday basis, because he's way more optimistic than me. He's definitely a glass half full. And so I have to give him credit that we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for his optimism, because there were plenty of a day when I said, "What are we doing?"
Yeah.
So I'll let kind of.
Yeah, no, I bought my first house at a young age, and I just always loved home ownership and houses. And my background before that, I was on a commission, basis anyway. So when Michelle being in the mortgage industry and wanting to get into, the real estate world, I said, why don't we just both jump in together, and go for it. So,
And we did.
I really didn't think too much about it, and just I wanted to do it. So
wow. It's super impressive because, well, first of all, I will say it's very hard to say no to Linda. Very hard to say no to Linda.
Yes, you're right.
And if anybody's an eternal optimist, it is her for sure. But here you are like years later and you're 14 years married. Your oldest is what?
Our
13?
oldest is 13.
Yes.
13.
So you've been in the business a long time now. You've had a lot of success. What is it that each of you bring to the table individually that makes the team work like a dream?
I can tell you what I think John brings. And if he wants to answer for me, but I think John has very thick skin, which I think you really need in this business. I think a lot of people think, oh, real estate, I love houses. I'm going to sell real estate. It's so easy. I get to see all these beautiful homes. Well, we both know that that's not always the case. So I think his optimism and thick skin, and he's one of the hardest working people I know, like really has, and having the sales background definitely is one of his, what he brings.
But I'm actually not the most, and I know that I'm not the most, I don't want to say outgoing. Yeah. So I'm not the person that, is at the cocktail party chatting it up with everyone. That's just not me. I'm a lot more reserved and kind of to myself. So while I can talk business all day, when it comes to talking about, making that small talk, I'm not that great at that. And, over time, we've learned what we are good at, what our strengths are. So Michelle is definitely the person that, she connects with the people a lot more than I do, and so we've learned to kind of use that. And that's been
your secret sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it took some time to figure that out. In the beginning, you're working together and you don't know, but slowly we figured out a rhythm and figured out what works for us and figured out what we're both not good at or what we both are good at and really try to. And, I will say over the last few years, I feel like we really have kind of found the right.
Well, Michelle does all, like when we are listing a house, she'll do all the pre-staging and the staging and all that to make sure that our listings are showing, as beautiful as possible. When it comes to buyers, she's helping a lot of buyers with new construction in terms of, choice selections or sometimes layout selections, or if she's taking someone through a house and can envision space, how it should be in the layout. So that's her strengths. And it's helped us with both buyers and sellers when it comes to,
And I would say, relationship building. I think we've been really lucky over the years that we've met awesome people. We've met people that were strangers that have become friends. And so I think, that's kind of something else that I like to work on because I truly value the relationship that we've made with people over the years. So,
yeah, I mean, that's important because this is a highly personal transaction. People are trading their largest asset. It's often emotional because it comes with, a milestone in your life, usually, marriage, divorce, kids, death, whatever it might be. So it's really important. And I can see how, Michelle, like, especially in your social media, we're going to talk about your social media because it's amazing. You're like sort of that front person, sort of the face. And, John it sounds like you're the closer.
I mean, I do all the negotiating, like when it comes to the negotiating pricing and stuff like that, like that's more my shtick. Yeah.
Just Agreed. Like the reel I saw the other day.
Yes.
Yes.
He wasn't super excited about that reel. Let's just
Michelle, I have to hand it to you.
Sometimes.
Well, my husband is like an introvert, highly private guy. Like I could never get him to do the stuff you get John to do. So,
well, the funny part is, so back, a few years ago, John was the one, we got to do video. And I was like kind of cringing and I hated it. And then I just got used to it. So when he gives me a hard time about these silly reel videos, I say, you're the one who said we had to do more video. Yeah. So be careful what you wish for. Right?
Exactly. I love it. So the next logical question for me would be, how do you balance business, marriage, parenting, and everything else that comes with, living a good life, a quality life without killing each other?
Okay.
We don't.
No.
We've come very close to killing each other. That's Well, Michelle's
okay.
come very close to calling me.
So truth be told, in the beginning, there wasn't balance. I can remember to this day, like it was yesterday, Linda O saying, a lot of people get into real estate because they think it's flexible, and it's only flexible once you've established a career. So I would say in the beginning years, there was no balance. I mean, John was working like 24/7. Michelle wasn't so happy about the 24/7. As the kids have gotten older, it's become easier. We were very lucky with help when the kids were babies, with my mom and John's mom. And, I would say that, sometimes working together, it's kind of like we have some date nights just because of work,
Yeah.
And I joke that we're only ready to kill each other when John thinks he's in charge of me. So, but, I think we don't necessarily work with each other side by side all day, every day, or else we probably
definitely
would kill each other.
Yeah.
We both have strong personalities. So in finding out what we're good at, we've kind of realized, okay, this is what we need to do together as a team. And this is kind of my thing, and that's his thing. Our team will tell you on our weekly meetings, we've warned them, you're going to see some disagreements. It's kind of all part of it. So, we're both Italian. We disagree. But at the end of the day, obviously, we both have the same goals, and that is to be successful and provide for our kids and have a good life. And we both know, I'm the one that kind of sometimes has to rail John in to say, we got to stop and smell the roses and do fun things. Our kids are growing up.
But it has been easier because we do work together. And I know some husband-wife teams, like they have their own clients, for us, like all of our clients are all of our clients.
Yeah.
So that part made it easier with our kids, because if, for example, if we had to show a house on Saturday, maybe it was Michelle that was showing the house, so I could do something with the kids, or vice versa. So that did make it, it was always sometimes one person got tagged in and the other person got tagged out.
Yeah.
That did make it a lot easier as the kids were growing up as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you don't have to depend on anybody else, because you both have obligations with your separate jobs. In this case,
Exactly.
it's the same client, it's the same job, so you guys can split the duties as necessary.
Right.
And I love, I know you guys are both Italian, and as being Italian myself, married to someone who's not Italian, it's very difficult for him to understand the spark that comes sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do believe it has kept us both alive.
We call it passion.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's great. And so I would imagine that also translates to being a team as parents as well.
Yeah, we have definitely have tried over the years since they were babies to divide and conquer. And, obviously with us both working, we need to do that. I will say that when the kids were babies, John definitely put in those extra hours, and I stayed home more. And then as the kids have grown, I kind of have my own time back that I can really refocus. And, John did pay me a compliment last night that you can share if you want over dinner, that, we've had our best year yet. And that part of it, is that he felt like I work a lot more than I did in the past, and that he felt like it has helped. So, I think
He's trying to get you to work more.
Yeah, it's never enough. But no, I enjoy what I do, and we both do. So it's, and I've always been the type of person that I want to have my own career, and I think I'm a better mother having my own career. Some people are meant to stay home, and I've been fortunate to pick up my kids every day from school and go to field trips and all of that. But at
Yeah.
the same time, like I truly love what I do. So
Now that you're established and you're successful, you have that little bit more of that flexibility.
yes, like Linda said, now we have the career, so we do have a bit more flexibility. And
But we also know, through the years, I feel like we started to understand not necessarily the process, but we're able to set expectations. We're lucky, our clients are awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of them, are understanding. We're there for them when they need us, but they don't. None of our clients take advantage of us. So it's been good.
Yeah,
that's great. I'm going to switch gears now and talk about social media.
Yes.
Because I think from where I sit, and I'm not sitting in your business, with you guys every single day, but from where I sit, I believe it's one of the things that makes you guys stand out from everybody else in your market. You just do a phenomenal job. Number one, you're on multiple platforms. Number two, you're using video. You are consistent. And the mix is like, it's gold. You have a mix of valuable information. I'm thinking like the market reports that John does. You have fun and entertainment with like, your banter and your like, which one, John or Michelle, all your reels that you do, such fun stuff. And then you have, a nice sort of mix of your personal. So you bring your kids in sometimes, you show people that you're spending time with your family. So people really get to understand what you value, what's important to you, that, laughter is important. And, you just get a sense for who you guys are as people and how you work as a team. So I guess my question is, how do you come up with the ideas and what systems do you have in place to implement it? Because it looks to me like you could be on social media all day long.
I mean, I will give credit so Michelle and Liz really have helped our social media big time in terms of, just getting it done. I think that, frankly, Liz from our team has helped us, she'll keep us on track. And, she's the one that will say, hey, we got to do these videos. And she'll make us do them, which is she'll hold us accountable. And sometimes she's coming up with the idea. Sometimes I'll have an idea. Sometimes Michelle will have an idea. We always, try and brainstorm ideas. And then I will say that between Michelle and Liz, they helped us stay consistent to make sure that we're doing it all the time. So it's hard when we were relying on ourselves, it's a lot easier to miss it. But now that someone else is telling us that, hey, we need to set aside a couple hours and get these videos done, it has helped us a lot.
Yeah, I would say that Liz has been tremendous in that way. So her and I work really closely together. We have weekly team meets, but then her and I have meetings, just the two of us, that will kind of come up with, all right, what are we doing this week? And there are some things that we just do, every week, same day, but then her and I will really brainstorm on ideas or, like John said, I'd have all these ideas and have, all the best intentions of doing it regularly. And then you get busy and you think, ooh, I'll do that next week or next month. And then you're not being consistent. So she's really helped in being consistent because not only does she listen to my wacky ideas and then we kind of will implement them, she's saying, all right, we talked about doing this. Let's meet on this day. And so
she'll have her own wacky ideas too.
Yeah. So it's good because I'll kind of have ideas and then she'll have ideas and we don't necessarily always agree on them, but I have to give her a lot of credit for keeping us consistent.
Yeah.
And I think the longer that we've been doing them, it's kind of like, I will still, truth be told, barely watch some of the videos because I hate to see myself. If I start to see myself or listen to my voice, I'm like looking at it like this. So I kind of do it and I rely on, if it were up to me to post it, I'd probably not post half the stuff because I would say, oh, I hate the way I look or I sound or whatever. And so, yeah, I just kind of do it and I have fun with it now. I don't think about it so much of, I try to just be, it's come more natural over the years.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things people struggle with is just getting started because they're so afraid of how they look and what they sound like. And maybe their idea is not good enough, but it's like anything. Once you do it over and over and over again, and you get the practice, it just feels more natural. But it sounds like for you, Liz, having that accountability.
Yes.
And it sounds like, is she doing your editing too and your posting and scheduling?
So she does a lot of our editing. She does a lot of our posting and scheduling. I do some, we definitely, if she's on vacation, I'll take it over. If I'm on vacation, she'll fully take it over. So we have a mix for sure. But she's definitely helped in keeping us consistent for sure.
That's really important.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Having that person keeping you
consistent.
And
I would say to anyone that is like cringing at the thought of it, it really is true. The more you do it, it just becomes natural. I used to, have these like scripts, and then truth be told, I never use a script anymore.
Wow.
Like 9 out of 10 videos, I just feel like I just need to be natural and do what comes to me because I feel like it comes across more natural and it's more me. So.
Yeah. And that authenticity is really important.
Yeah. So I've kind of thrown the scripts out the window and just tried to be more myself. And
that's great. Now, how is it shown in terms of results in your business? How's it helped you?
So I think it definitely has helped. I mean, most of our business comes from whether it's past clients or a sphere, like a lot of agents. And I will say, we went to one of our past clients' houses yesterday or the day before, and they mentioned, I feel like, we've been with you guys all summer, we saw that you took a vacation and they knew a lot about what was happening in our lives. And I will say that it has helped us stay in touch with our sphere in a big way, which I think ultimately just helps us stay, top of mind with people, but it helps us interact with people because some people, will interact with them like, via Facebook instead of,
picking up the
phone call or whatever it is, it's different, but it's definitely helped us keep our sphere, there close to us.
I would say like John said, when we run into friends or sphere of influence or past clients, I would say almost every time they'll comment on.
But then we're also,
in a positive way.
But, and because we have that interaction with them, we know what's going on in their lives as well, too. So it's not just this one-way street. It's a two-way street where we know, someone's pregnant or just got married, et cetera, because we have that relation and connection with them now.
Yeah. For sure. I think that's so important. I think, again, a lot of people they just feel like social media just is so out of their realm. And I think if you think about it like that, it's just an extension of the phone or the email or the texting. It just allows you to have such a larger, broader reach with your sphere of influence from, all walks of life, all stages of your life. And as long as you're, like you said, John, using it as a two-way street where, you're engaging with what people are posting so that you can maintain and nurture those relationships, but also creating your own content, they feel like they're seeing you all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has definitely helped us stay closer to our sphere. In a big way, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not the most social guy, like if, on social media, that's just not my thing. But, I think my advice would be like, we started with one little thing, and we kept it consistent. And then once that became a no-brainer that we just did it week in and week out, we just added something else and then eventually added something else. And, and we're still adding stuff.
And I do really strongly believe that you should do what you feel comfortable doing and what you feel like works. Yes, step out of your comfort zone, but at the same time, do what you enjoy doing, and that's genuine, in that people will know if you're being authentic in yourself. So
Absolutely. So speaking of advice, what's the best piece of advice you would give to a married couple who is interested in getting into the business?
I mean, I would say it's as Michelle just said, it's finding your strengths.
Yeah.
We would joke that every time we left a listing appointment, in the very beginning, I mean, we would battle in the car for the next, I don't know how long, saying, I can't believe you said that. And why would you interrupt me? And after a while, I think there's a learning curve that has to happen. And I think that, that finding your strengths, I mean, again, like I've ran into married couples in real estate where sometimes they have their own clients. Like I can't imagine having a client that wasn't like, that I kept secret from Michelle. Like that's just not how we operate, so we're in it together, and we've over the years found our strengths. And I think I just think it takes a little bit to get into your groove. And then once you find that and you realize where your strengths are, I think that's where you can gain momentum.
Yeah. So I would also say, having a support system is really, I mean, with any career is huge. My mom passed away 4 years ago, but she was, I don't know if we could have done it without her when the kids were really young. She helped us tremendously. So I would say having a support system is huge. Having a savings is huge, just to be realistic and real. Because in this business, it's very cyclical. And, in order to survive and do this full time, I think you need to have a safety net getting into it. And yes, knowing that it's not going to be smooth sailing in the beginning. Until you figure out, what am I good at? What are you good at? And knowing that there's no way we can possibly both be good at all of those things.
Yeah.
Now, I keep on talking about Linda, but she had this video, and I know she loves this guy, and I'm going to draw a blank on his name. Do you know the video? It's basically about, you can't be good at everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this guy, and I'm drawing a blank, but in any event, and not only for us working, but knowing where you need that support, whether it's having someone else do your pictures and,
like social media is a great example. Like I knew we needed to do it. I knew we needed to add video. That's not my, it doesn't come naturally to me, but knowing that it needed to get done, we were able to hire someone to help us. Michelle kind of ran with that. I mean, quite frankly, in the very beginning, like I had to push Michelle to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So I think just knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and that doesn't come in the very beginning. I think it takes a little while before you figure out where where you excel and where you're deficient, and just being true to yourself and knowing those things and being able to admit like, hey, I'm not that great at this stuff. So instead of being controlling, I'm going to have someone else do this and they can do it better than I can. So I think that has helped a lot.
Yeah. And I think working on that, using that team dynamic to help. I think we'll go to a client, a future client's house or a potential client's house, and I might connect with the husband and John might connect with the wife and vice versa. And, just knowing, when to talk, when not to talk, when to let them have their, and, so I would say just in patience.
Yes. Patience, especially when you have to go home together at the end of the night.
Yeah.
The end of the day.
Yeah.
So what's next for the Ternullo team?
That's a great question. I mean, I do feel like that we probably will try and grow the team a little bit more slowly. I don't want to do it too quickly, but I do feel like, we will continue to grow the team and
yeah, I would say, obviously hiring Christy full-time was a big step for us and a first and having a first full time. I'd love to get Liz some time full time. So I see that in our future, and then growing our team to add more agents, is kind of where we see ourselves down the road.
Yeah.
So if anybody is looking to join an amazing team,
we're looking for two good agents, I think.
Yeah, I think that's kind of our goal is two agents. So
awesome. All right. Are you ready for some rapid fire?
Yes, I'm very excited for the rapid fire.
All right. And you can each answer the questions.
All right. This is where you might see some bantering come in. So.
Oh, I can't wait. Best subject in school?
Ooh. Oh, for me, math. It was definitely math.
I was definitely English, spelling, won all the spelling bees.
Terrible.
I love to read out loud, which I still love to read. I'm a big reader. But yeah, like English, spelling, reading. That was
not mine at all.
You guys are like opposites.
Yeah. And that's still today. That's still like, so yes.
All right. What movie is, oh, wait a minute. Wrong one. If a movie was made of your life, who would play you?
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Ouch. I'm deferring to Michelle.
Oh, geez. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if I can answer this question. I can tell you who reminds me of John a little bit. And he will maybe not agree, but is it CSI? He's kind of balding, sorry,
Thanks.
but handsome. He kind of reminds me of John, and I think his name is Chris.
We'll have to look.
Jeez,
we'll have to Google
I'm going to have to Google that.
All right.
Man, some of my favorite actresses kind of like over the years, Deborah Winger, you don't hear a lot about.
No.
Really, really love her. Terms of Endearment was a huge, could watch it 100 times. And obviously, who doesn't love Meryl Streep? But I don't really.
They're too old to play you.
Deborah Winger, but say that again.
They're too old to play you.
Oh, I'm not that young anymore, Christine. But I don't know. That is a good one.
I got one for you.
Ask other people about that question. It's hard to pick that for yourself.
All right, I'm going to pick it for you. I haven't figured John out yet, but I think Sandra Bullock could play you.
I could see that.
She's awesome, gorgeous. You kind of look like her in a little bit.
All right, I'll take it.
All right,
I'll take it.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, I remember many moons ago. I think I was 19. It was my first job out of high school. So I worked full time. I went to school at night. And my boss's wife, Joanne, said, "You're never going to be ready. You're never going to have enough money. You're never going to be ready for this. You're never going to be ready for that. You just have to do it." And I think if you were to look at when we started our career, we had a toddler and we just found out we were pregnant. I think we were the definition of not being ready to start a new career, so I think you kind of just sometimes have to not overthink it, and you'll never have enough money. You'll never have enough time. You just have to to go for it. So
go for it.
And for me, I think, who said that quote, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And I think that's kind of what's that?
Henry Ford.
Yes, I think it was Henry Ford. Yes. And I think that resonates with me a lot. I mean, there's a lot of times, even in this business, obviously the market's strong right now, and, having that buyer that has put in 8 offers and they're ready to give up, it's like, you just need to persevere through it. And if you stay optimistic and you keep working at it, you'll get there. And I think that that's something that, I resonate with.
Well, you guys have both shown that, not only by, taking the leap of faith, but also by sticking it out when it wasn't so easy in the beginning.
It was,
you persevered. Who would you most like to meet, dead or alive?
Ooh.
So I never got to meet my father's father. He died about 4 years before I was born. And so I feel like you learn a lot about people from through their parents or through how they were raised. And I would like to, spend some time with him, and would have loved to have met him and got to know him a little bit.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I have family that are in Italy that I haven't met before that, or that, that I would like to. I mean, there's a bunch of successful people that I'd love to pick their brain on how they got there, but I don't have anyone in particular that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right. He's got somebody, he just doesn't want to say it.
Yeah.
All right. What are you most grateful for? Last question.
I have to say, it sounds like very corny and cliche, but I'm most thankful for my health. I mean, we both lost our parents in their 60s, in their mid 60s. Unfortunately, we just found out this morning that a neighbor, not too much older than us, just died suddenly of a heart attack. And I feel like, I am very thankful for my health. I don't take it for granted. And I'm also extremely thankful. I'm very close to my family, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. I have some great friends, and obviously, my kids and my husband, health and family, I think, are just two huge things that I am very thankful for.
I think for our life, I mean, I think there's a lot for us to be thankful for. I mean, I think just overall how we live our life and how we're able to provide for our kids and go on vacation and, have some enjoyment, whether it's, a family or having success in business. And I think overall, I think we do have a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And health is one of them.
And I, it's funny because I do try to tell our kids, like, you guys are very lucky. You've done a lot that I never got to do as a kid, and so I'm also, I love reliving things through their eyes. I try to tell them, like, when you saw the Statue of Liberty for the first time, Mommy was seeing the Statue of Liberty for the first time. And, I'm thankful for, like I said, John said, we have a nice life. We have a good life. We have two healthy kids that, that I think have a really great life. So,
that's great.
Yeah.
And they're cute as hell.
Yes, they're getting very grown up, but they are.
I think I saw a recent, Jonathan's your older one, right?
Nicholas is our older one.
Okay.
And he's towering over me.
He's huge, and he doesn't look like a baby anymore. He looks he's a boy, like a full-fledged boy.
He's there's not a shred of boy, like a little boy left in him. And it happened like that. You will see it. You won't, I would say, I felt like every morning he'd come down, like, for school to have breakfast. And I felt like every morning he looked a little bit taller.
Yeah.
So I kind of savor our youngest, who's 11, who still looks like a little boy, because it just happens way too fast.
It does. I know. Okay. What's the best way for people to find you? Where can they
find myself?
So I would say for me, Instagram, Facebook, text. Those are like that's my thing.
Yeah. For me, it's email, text, or call.
Yeah. Right. John has his phone literally attached to him at all times. So
I think
I respond quicker on a text or email or a call than I will on a Facebook message.
Yes.
Oh, me too. For sure. Sure. Yeah, I'm with you. All right. We're going to put that in the show notes. Thank you so much, guys. This was awesome.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun. And I would encourage anybody who's listening or watching today to definitely check out the Ternullo real estate team on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and leave us a comment and let us know that you watched us, and click that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube so that you can know exactly when we release a new episode. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love it if you'd like, comment, and share it. Check us out at leadingedgeagents.com and like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn.